G'day, I'm James Stroud from Stroud Homes. Today I would like to talk to you about stress, specifically the stress that is involved in building a new home. We believe that if we can show you ways to minimize the stress, you will enjoy it more and enjoy your new home more. So let's just start out by learning a little bit about how stress actually works.
With all decisions, there's a lot of emotion involved. Two main emotions that come with a decision of that nature. The first one is excitement. You're really happy to get this underway. The second emotion really is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what might be happening that's outside of your control. So Stroud Homes have asked me to talk to you briefly today about the impact of that fear and how it can impact on your health and your happiness as we go through the build. Inside our mind, we have an area of our brain which triggers the stress response when it perceives danger. So this danger can be real or imagined. So real danger is when you step on a snake. Imagined danger is when you see something and then your mind starts to build a picture around that based on information given to you by other people. Friends perhaps that had a bad build, and when you see something that doesn't look right to you, you immediately start to imagine that that's going to happen to your house as well. So this vivid imagination that we have, that also triggers the stress response. Now, when we trigger the stress response, what that does is it brings every part of our body together and releases adrenaline and sugar and gives us the energy to either fight or run away. And every time we think of the same instance again, we trigger the stress response again. So our imagination can continue to trigger the stress response. If we think something's not right, we need to talk to somebody about it. Your supervisor is an expert at building. So your supervisor is the person to pick up the phone and ring and say, hey, I noticed this and I'm not sure about it. Can you give me the information? As an example, you've gone to have a look at how your house is going. You're driving down the road and you look at the house and it's at framing stage. So the frame's standing up there and you pull up outside on the road and you look and you go, well, wait a minute, the frame's crooked. It's leaning to one side. So as soon as you start to observe that, your mind flashes ahead in its imagination and you start to think, well, the house will fall down, it'll squash my kids. So my neighbours will laugh at me because I'm living in a crooked house. And so you go immediately into the stress response. But that could be alleviated if you just picked up the phone and phoned the supervisor, because as you're sitting there in your car, 2 minutes later, the chippies come back from lunch, they put a prop up and they put the bracing in and your house is lovely and square. So if you ever have anything that you see around your build that you've got any questions about, ring the supervisor. And if you don't go into the stress response, then you'll enjoy the build and it'll be a wonderful experience.
Okay, so that was interesting. So it all comes down to communication. So you know what is going on in the process. Now, something you might be interested to hear, government statistics show that roughly 95% of building projects end without any sort of dispute. 98.5% of projects end without any sort of dispute that results in a claim or a serious problem of any type. So the stuff that you see on current affairs is actually very rare in occurrence. That's the reality of it. Now look, I'd like to wrap up by giving you 3 quick tips to reduce the stress involved in your building experience. Tip number 1, keep talking to us. Keep the lines of communication open and keep the stress down. Tip number 2, visit the site with us. And by saying that, we mean please avoid visiting the site without us. We really enjoy taking you through the home and explaining what's going on, and it just avoids incorrect assumptions. It really can be enjoyable. Okay, so tip number 3. This is a tough one. Don't sweat the small stuff. A building project is a huge task for the builder and the owner, and there are certain things that do come up. Color variations in natural products is one of these things. Discontinued products at Stroud Homes, we try very hard to ensure a good supply chain, but it happens to the best of us. When something like that goes wrong, we just ask you to please work with us. And whatever you do, don't let the thing that goes wrong wreck the whole process for you. So don't sweat the small stuff. Now, thanks a lot for listening to our tips for handling the stress. Wishing you a great build.